Hello, I'm Alan Davies, and this is As Yet Untitled. This is a show where we just have a conversation. There isn't any agenda or plan or prepared questions. It's just a bit of a chat, and at the end of it, we'll try and work out a title for the show. And to do that, I need the help of my guests. So please, will you welcome them? Thank you very much. Here they are. Hello. Welcome. Now, let's see who we've got here. We've got Sharon Horgan here. Sharon earned her equity status via pretentious Punch and Judy and broke the fall of a Rhodesian ridgeback while 5 months pregnant. David Baddiel. Fantastic to have David here. David is often confused for other Jewish luminaries and has suffered an awkward family incident with a onesie. David Baddiel is here. James Brown tenuously organised a Michael Jackson search party and enjoyed Sao Paulo with a dwarf and a basketball player. That's James Brown. And Nish Kumar. Welcome to Nish. Nish is an accidental internet sensation. Nish Kumar. That feels like that could be...
Yeah, an immediate murmur of disquiet around the room going...
Get out of the way immediately. There's nothing to do with pornography.
Yeah. No, it's not porn. It's...
How is it accidental? That's what I think confuses and worries people. Because that's the excuse people usually use, isn't it?
Yeah, it's accidental, like Kim Kardashian. I've been leaking my own sex tapes.
Okay.
Don't say leaking
Don't
sex
say
tapes.
leaking.
No, not leaking. Leaking sex is the worst sort of sex.
I've got to an age now, though, where it's mainly leaking.
You have
leaking.
leaking sex.
Oh, I think I do. It's sex with
Sorry.
incontinence pants for
Sorry.
me. I've upset the audience very early on.
Look,
I'm
fair
sorry.
play to you to be your age and having some sex.
No, that's true,
good
actually.
work.
No, yeah. I can't, well, stop playing the pensioner card, shall I? It's very early to be doing that.
How old are you, David?
174. No, I'm 50.
50?
Yeah.
When was your 50th? Recent?
It was in... I can't remember because
few
I've
months
got
ago.
senility. It was on May the 28th, I was 50. How old are you?
Congratulations, I'm 48.
But you've had the same haircut since you were 10.
No, since I was about 28.
OK, all right.
I let my hair grow.
I like it.
A girl made me do it. Thanks,
Yeah,
Sharon.
I bet. It looks
I turned
like...
to Sharon for approval because I don't care what you lot think. This show isn't normally about me. I don't mind.
The thing is that I sometimes get offered the chance of that operation whereby you can have your eyes sorted out so you don't have to wear glasses.
Lasered.
Lasered, that's the word
Oh,
I'm
I
looking
thought you meant dead people's corneas.
Dead people's corneas.
Transplant.
That's
You can have a
horror
transplant.
film.
You can have a transplant.
So not that.
No, not that.
Wait, hold on. I need to go back 2 steps. You can have dead people's eyes stuffed in your face.
Yeah, this is a zombie operation. What they do now. No, but what the question is that when people have said that to me, I've thought, but glasses, that's part of my brand, for want of a better word. And your hair, I wouldn't know who you were without that hair. It is that... Yeah, it's your thing, to some extent. I mean, there's lots of other things about you, Alan.
Yeah, but he's not changing it.
No, but I'm wondering if that's what you feel. If someone said to you, Alan, you're 40, wherever you are, maybe have different hair, and you're thinking, this is who I am. This is my hair.
I can't imagine who would care.
But, Alan, when you go on a summer holiday, like to the Caribbean or somewhere, do you get cornrows done? Or do you just keep it like it is?
You know what? I wanted to do that in Bali.
How come you
Walking
did
past the
it?
same woman every day. And she was very friendly, and every day she'd ask.
Yeah.
You know, she was thinking, I want to get my hands on that mess.
I thought you were going to say in Barnsley. I was like, under no circumstances. You know what we do in Barnsley? We get cornrows.
So what happened? You were walking past the computer, you accidentally turned the camera on, it filmed you doing something,
Yeah.
and you became an internet sensation.
No,
Is that right?
it's weirder than
Was the
that.
camera at a wonky angle?
It's in night vision, so you can't even tell it's me. It was... I got an email from my friend saying, ha ha, well done. And I opened it, and it was a website called quickmeme.com. Now, do you know what a meme is? Because I didn't.
It's short.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. They have these pictures where they just find a random photo on the internet and they just change the caption according to a theme. So I saw one which is like a guy who's going... and everybody changes the reason why he's surprised. And it's a very funny thing that people of a younger generation enjoy because I didn't know what one was until I looked at quickmeme.com and realised that I had been turned into a meme. They had taken a publicity shot of me and turned it into a meme, and the title of the meme was The Confused Muslim. So Now, just to be clear, that is not a religion I or any of my family are practicing members of. So a website called The Confused Muslim has confused me with being a Muslim.
So Nish, can you do the face now?
I can show you this
meme
face. The face is this. Yeah, I mean,
it's not as confused as I thought it would be.
It's also not particularly inherently Islamic either. Like, I'm not reading the Quran or refusing a bacon sandwich. Like, it's nothing particularly Islamic about what I'm doing.
Refusing a bacon sandwich is quite confusing anyway. So,
How many hits, though? How many hits?
More than work that I've legitimately put on the internet. Basically, I got obsessed with trying to find out what happened. And what happened is, I have what you could all see my face. It's of an undetermined ethnic origin. And so I said on stage that I was one of the few people that's regularly confused with being both a Jew and a Muslim. A website reprinted that quote verbatim. So now when you Google confused Muslim, it's my fucking face.
is it okay being on Google as, you know, anything Muslim? Doesn't that mean that MI6 kind of get in touch and stuff like that? Are you okay?
I mean, given that I already look like a Homeland extra, I think they're probably... They might well be monitoring.
You don't look like an extra. You look like one of the main guys. You know, you look like the guy who's got about 4 computer screens and he's taking control of the drones. Oh, no, that was 24. You look like the guy in 24. If Jack Bauer comes in here, we're fine. You're dead.
I think you do look like you work undercover for us.
Right, okay.
Basically.
So I've got the face for it, but I've got kind eyes.
Oxbridge graduate.
Exactly, yeah, sort of double
Speaks
agent.
Arabic.
Yeah, dresses like that most of the time, but then they put him in the gear and send him out to Afghanistan. I think that's what you look like.
But there is a weird piece of circularity in being sat opposite you, because if you Google confused Muslim...
You get me?
The 3 images that appear, the first one is Jesus Christ. The original confused Muslim.
Yeah.
And the second one is a picture of Omid Jalili in the film The Infidel, which you wrote.
That's correct. No, because when you said, you know, that you're of indeterminate ethnicity, I wrote a film called The Infidel, which is about a Muslim who discovers that he was adopted and born a Jew. And to some extent, that was based on a very old joke, which you might be the only person here who remembers me telling. A true story. I used to say I've been beaten up twice in my life, once for being Jewish, once for being a Pakistani. And it used to get a laugh, because people were clearly thinking, well, he could be either, couldn't he? That's clearly what people were thinking. But that did happen to me. And when I was being beaten up, this was in Wembley in about 1987, for being a Pakistani, I did even consider saying to the fascists beating me up, you don't understand, I'm Jewish. It wouldn't have worked, would it?
But when you were younger, you had really black hair, didn't you?
Will you stop going on about my age? You know I'm decaying, Alan.
You looked like a Pakistani when you were younger, but now you really look Jewish.
Oh, do you think? Now you look like Mel Brooks playing the 1,000-year-old man. That's what you're saying, yeah.
That sounds like the first line of your online dating profile. Used to look a bit Pakistani, now really Jewish.
I know women really go for that.
I wonder what you'll get beaten up for next.
Yeah,
That's the interesting
Just
part.
by people who think I can beat him up because he's so old. That's what's going to happen.
Tell me, when you organised the Michael Jackson search party, what was that
Yeah, I
about?
mean, it was very tenuous. It's just a great story. And I was at work one day, and one of my editors came in and said, "Do you know where Michael Jackson's staying?" I went, "No." And he said, "No, never does he. He's in my girlfriend's office now. He's lost." It was about 11 o'clock on a Tuesday morning. And his girlfriend worked at the pre-strip joint Stringfellows when he was just a hub for soap stars and footballers. It was a celebrity nightclub. And apparently Jacko had been shopping in Harrods with Lionel Richie. And if you've ever been to Harrods, even on a Tuesday morning, it's busy. And Mr. Al-Fayed and Lionel Richie had lost Michael.
Lost him?
They lost him. He just, you know, it's like when you're shopping, you start looking at, like, he's probably looking at some monkey nuts, and then the others drifted off. And so he panicked.
That's because he's got monkeys.
He's got monkeys.
I am not 12 years old. I am aware that I am a little bit younger than everyone else here, but I do know who Michael Jackson is.
So Jacko panics and walks through the doors and sees the cab rank and jumps into a cab. And the cab driver, assuming Michael Jackson knows where he's going, thinks, "Fuck, I've got Michael Jackson." He just sets off. And he goes, "Where do you want to go, Mr. Jackson?" He goes, "My hotel." He goes, and he goes, "Don't you know?" And he's a black cab. He's going, "No." He said, I don't know where it is. And he proceeds to describe the hotel. Cab drivers obviously knows a few hotels. So the cab driver thinks, I'll ring round. So he gets on the old radio and nobody knows what Michael Jackson is. So he goes, I'll take him to where the celebrities go. So the cab driver took him to Stringfellows.
This is the middle of the day.
This is just before lunch.
Okay.
And he bangs on the door, and my deputy's girlfriend answers it. And Michael Jackson's there, with a bloke who looks like should be an EastEnders. And they come in and explain what's going on. So she starts ringing anyone she can get hold of who she thinks will know where Michael Jackson should stay. Eventually, the cabbie says, I'm going to go and wait in the car, because the meter's still running. And he gets back on the controller, and eventually his controller goes, he's staying at this hotel in Knightsbridge. So he comes back in, and he says, right, I know where he's going, it's OK. Meanwhile, back at Harrods, Lionel Richie has lost Michael Jackson. Lionel Richie is getting a bit nervous. So he goes through the same doors and sees the cab rank, and the guy in charge of the rank goes, you looking for Michael Jackson? He goes,
Did he say, hello, is it me you're looking for?
Sadly, because it's true, sadly not. Gets in a cab, and the controller goes, he's gone to Stringfellows. So 20 minutes later, there's a knock at the door, Stringfellows, and Martin's girlfriend answers it, and there's another cabbie, and Lionel Richie. And Rachel and Lionel Richie looked at each other and went, Michael Jackson!
I think this explains
Pop stars
something
get
I've
lost.
never understood, which is why, I don't know if you know this, but Mohammed Al-Fayed used to own Fulham, for reasons that were never clear, built a statue of Michael Jackson outside Fulham, and I presume it's so that he would always know where he was.
You can watch the rest of this episode on UK TV Play. And now for some extra stories that didn't make the show.
Frank Skinner told me that he once went to a Robert Mapplethorpe, you know, the photographer, exhibition, and I don't know if you know Robert Mapplethorpe's work, but it's very gay and very extreme.
Sexy.
And there's one particular photo he talked about, which was just literally a crotch shot of a man with his zip undone and an enormous cock and balls. And it was called... It was called Man in Polyester Suit. That was the name of the thing. And Frank wrote in the visitor's book, you assured me this was a head and shoulders shot Man in Polyester Suit.
I saw a documentary about a
Did
man,
Frank buy the...
I don't think he bought it.
about a man who put silicone into his genitals. Did you see that?
No.
He kept injecting silicone into his genitals because they
think
wanted
I
to
saw
get
that,
bigger and
yeah.
bigger and bigger. And in the end, I mean, he needed 2 hands to carry these
You
things.
need a wheelbarrow.
Virtually. And when he sat on the loo, they
Well, just enormous. Must have looked like you on crutches when you were pregnant.
And that's his thing. It was one of these.
Did you see that thing? I mean,
extreme
was it one of those
documentaries.
programmes on... Yeah, there was that one about the man with the 18-stone testicles was on Channel 4 recently.
Is that the one, though?
Is
Did
it the
he
same man?
inject
No,
some-
he didn't inject silicone. He just woke up one day.
No.
Well, they had not straight away. It wasn't like...
He can't just woke up with 2 pumpkins in bed. He got to...
No, but
like,
it got
just
a bit
grown.
of it got a bit of a knock, and then over the course of time, it grew and grew and grew. Did anyone see this documentary? It grew and grew and grew.
Just
The
to
thing I
confirm
most
it's
like
not a
about
dream.
it, though,
Sounds
is
like a
he
lovely
used...
fairy tale.
Is it
They
lovely?
grew and grew.
Grew and grew and became an 18-stone testicle. No,
Roald Dahl wrote it.
He used to walk about wherever he lived, somewhere in America, obviously, with a hoodie on his testicle.
Yeah.
Which
Upside down hoodie.
In Nevada, I remember, an upside-down hoodie, and it made me think, if I'm in Nevada, I'm never going to buy a hoodie from an
Hold on,
Oxfam shop, ever.
Explain that. How did he attach the hoodie?
Well, with a zip, actually. Funnily enough,
So
he
did the
would...
testicle have a little face on it?
It's funny enough, it is a
Pair
bit
of
like,
glasses.
it is a bit like a kid.
This is my son.
He's really ugly.
Every morning he would dress the testicle like a teddy bear, essentially. He would put the hoodie on it,
He should have put them in a little pram.
a little pram.
And then when someone went to have a look, they'd...
Get a bit of a shock. Yeah.
You'd still have to say the baby was beautiful, though. You do have to do that.
Only a mother could love this.
I'm afraid your baby looks like a bollock.
The Scottish heavy metal scene. And how on earth you became involved in it?
It was the lowest moment of my career. I was doing a gig at the Edinburgh Festival, and the Edinburgh Festival is a month-long arts festival / drain on a comedian's sense of self-esteem, because it just goes on and on and on. You do a show a day, and it's like Groundhog Day, but ironically, it's profoundly unfunny. And so we all go do it, and when I first started, I was really enthusiastic, and I turned up, and the gig was running an hour late already. So as I went on stage, we worked out that it was the exact time that the heavy metal band should have been on stage. And the heavy metal band were all at the back of this room, and they were all there with their fan. And they had all... The band and their fan had become very agitated by this point, and it was clear that they wanted to start their gig. So it was the first and, fortunately, only time in my career I've ever been booed on stage. Like, that's when people went, "Please welcome to the stage, Nish Kumar." Boo! And I sort of walked on, and it had been quite a hard month, professionally and personally, for a number of different reasons. So for whatever reason, when I got to the microphone, and they were all booing me and shouting, "Get off, get off," and I just went, "No. I have been booked to do 10 minutes of stand-up comedy, and I'm going to do 10 minutes of stand-up comedy." And I made a really big show of starting my watch, and I started the gig, and it was just a volley of abuse. And I don't know, like, something I don't know, but I think I may have had a nervous breakdown, because I just refused to leave the stage. And at one point, I found a book that was on the front row. I picked it up and just started reading it, and then suddenly from the back, one of the guys from the band came towards me. And he got on stage, and a part of me thought, "Oh, this is how I'm going to die. Like, this is the end of Nish Kumar." But when you're on stage, there's a weird sort of adrenaline rush, which gives you more confidence to do things that you would never do in real life. And this man had a really long beard, and he walked right up to me, and he was this close to me, and I went, "Hey, ZZ Top!" Which did not go down well. And then
Got a laugh from the audience.
Yeah, he did, yeah. Years later. But instead of hitting me, he just walked behind me and very slowly set up a drum kit around me. And then walked up and sat down. And then I got to the end of 10 minutes, and at that point, the staff of the venue started shouting, "Get to fuck," which I now know is a Celtic expression meaning, "Please leave." And so I ran out of the building, but not before shouting at the audience, "I did my 10 minutes, fuck you!" and just ran out into the street. And the thing is, by that point, the venue was full, because obviously people in the street had started going, "You've got to come in here. This terrorist's going to get his head kicked in by a heavy metal band."
It's true to say that you will do any gig when you start out.
I took a gig once, and I thought it was going to be great because it was headlined by the guys who were in the In-Betweeners. And I walked on, and I did 30 seconds before a man just at the back went, "When are the famous people on?" Like, he was so sad.
He was crying.
Yeah, he was like crying. He was so upset. And then the thing is, he came up to me, and I was just like, I was destroyed because I had nothing to say to this man. And I was just sat backstage. This guy came up to me, and he went, "Hi, mate. It was me that shouted that before. I'm really sorry. I just really like the In-Betweeners." You'll do anything.
It's delayed gratification. You need to learn to wait for the in-betweeners. And by definition, the in-betweeners shouldn't be at the end. That's quite wrong. But we haven't asked you the Jewish luminaries that you've been mistaken for.
No. Well, as you'll know, it's one of the things about being on telly is that people mistake you for other people. You, Ray Parlour, I assume. I don't know.
No, James May.
James May. Oh, yeah, James May. Yeah,
James
that's
May.
true, yeah.
Yeah.
In
In fact, I was on the train the other day, and a kid came down the carriage and stopped and looked at me, a kid of about 14 or something, and he goes, "No, it's not James May," and walked off again.